Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5 story ideas explored. Blomkamp once said in an interview that he works on a concept or film even before going to a studio to pitch his work. That way, he's well prepared and armed with a string of ideas. The man really has it in himself, and he's probably the go-to man for a sci-fi film. So, while shooting Chappie that starred Dev Patel, Hugh Jackman, and Sigourney Weaver, Neil Blomkamp pitched his idea about a new alien film to Sigourney. He also showed her the concept art for the film that he had commissioned on his own. A few months later, on February 18th of 2015, 20th Century Fox confirmed that Blomkamp was hired to hold the directorial reins to the new Alien 5 film. Blomkamp wished to connect himself to Ridley Scott's Alien and James Cameron's Aliens, and therefore wanted to largely ignore the events of the third and fourth films of the franchise. Sigourney Weaver and Michael Biehn were to reprise their roles of Ellen Ripley and Hicks, respectively. Furthermore, Blomkamp wanted to bring a grown-up Newt back to the films. If you'd remember, both Hicks and Newt were killed off early in David Fincher's Alien 3, and it was a movie that neither the fans nor James Cameron appreciated. Cameron had spent energy and effort into creating the two characters, and killing them so soon was a waste of it all. However, he loved what Blomkamp had envisioned and seemed pretty excited about the project. So you see, Blomkamp was trying to respect all other directors, but wanted to take his film in an entirely new direction. But unfortunately, the film went into a developmental hell and never saw the light of day. Instead of going ahead with Blomkamp's Alien 5, the studio decided to greenlight Ridley Scott's second prequel Alien Covenant that came to theaters in 2017. Nevertheless, the artist Jeffrey Thorens worked on the compelling concept art, and Blomkamp himself took to social media to post a string of exciting images, revealing several plot details and other interesting trivia. From what we could learn by examining the images, the script would have revolved around Weyland-Yutani Corporation finding an engineered juggernaut ship with hordes of xenomorph eggs inside. They would then go on to experiment with these ovomorphs and create something called Trematodes, or creatures that impregnated hosts with facehugger embryos. Now, this could very well be speculation, but then you never know. Without further ado, let's explore the beautiful pieces of concept art and try to understand what each of them tells us.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Number 1. Factory. The image titled Factory shows an engineered juggernaut in some human factory, possibly owned by Weyland-Yutani Corporation. The interesting thing about this image is that the ship is covered in the same gelatinous liquid that is used by xenomorphs to cocoon their prey for later impregnation. Right underneath the ship, we can see many people working and examining it. Come to think of it, was it the xenomorphs that found this ship, or did Weyland find it? Our best guess is that Weyland found the juggernaut filled with xenomorph eggs, and Weyland-Yutani decided to use them in their weapon experiments. This is kind of hinted in another image where scientists are working with ovomorphs. Whatever may be the case, Weyland-Yutani Corporation seems to have its dirty little hands on that engineer ship. And things may go real bad if someone doesn't intercede. I mean, we all know that firm has a penchant for messing with subjects and technology that they don't fully understand. Number 2. Lab. To confirm our earlier assumption, we have a lab full of xenomorph eggs that are connected with wires and receptors. Weyland is clearly studying the ovomorphs to execute a sinister plan. However, the purpose of the man holding a gun and the woman working near the glass containment is unknown. But we do know that he's not a scientist and looks more like someone who knows how to handle a gun. Could it be that he's Hicks and the other person is Ripley, trying to destroy the ovomorphs before they hatch? If you'll notice carefully, the glass containment has 2 ovomorphs kept inside. Interestingly, these are not connected with any receptors and the containment seems to be broken. Number 3. City. This one was titled City and shows the panoramic view of a city, probably one from Earth because it has many high-rise buildings, and all of them don't seem as if they were built to serve military or commercial purposes. But the center of attraction here is the colossal skyscraper that looks like the headquarters or base of some enormous project or organization. It is quite possibly that the Juggernaut from the earlier entry was placed in here. I mean, just compare the size of this building with that of the other buildings. It simply dwarfs them. But don't worry, we have a better view of the building in the next entry. Number 4. Building. In this close-up view of the same main building, we can see it in its real magnificence and glory. Had Neil's film taken off, he would have used some impressive CGI to portray it. Furthermore, close to its base, there seems to be a landing pad, probably to be used for dropships and other jets. But it could very well be something else entirely. If we take a closer look at the engineering of this structure, it seems that the two parts are symmetrical in design, and may even be mobile, so as to come together and join each other to form a solid structure. We are able to make this assumption because another image shows a small-scale replica of the building. 5. Weyland. So, this image is titled Weyland and features a smaller model of the superstructure from the previous entry. To have a better perspective of the scale, let's compare it with the trees on either side and the humans at the center. It seems like Weyland has covered an entire patch of landscape to create something like a greenhouse so that they could study organisms. Probably xenomorphs or something else in a more natural habitat. The source of light on the ceiling is bulbs and not sunlight, so we can establish that this is an absolute enclosure intended to keep something contained. It's already established that Neil Blomkamp wanted to do something different with his Alien film, so it is possible that Weyland is in the process of executing a grand but risky plan. Since this structure has appeared in 3 different images, it certainly holds great importance to the movie. Number 6. Montero. Another interesting location among the pictures revealed in 2015 is a satellite called Montero. It's definitely closer to the surface of Earth because of the blue outline of the celestial body underneath it. The artificial space object structure tells us that it is unlikely a passenger vessel because there seems to be no place they could fit in. So it must be one of Weyland's satellites. Number 7. Anchor. Location-wise, this image showing an anchor in the middle of some ocean seems to be of importance because, in another picture, we are given hints that a xenomorph was loose on this anchor. Notice the storm that's engulfing the structure because that's a clue that the next entry is related to this one. Number 8. Alien Queen. So this image here shows the Xenomorph Queen in great detail, and she's clearly about to attack a target from whose perspective the image was created. Now, if you'll notice here, there's water splashing in the background behind the iron railings, but it is not rainwater, so the Alien Queen is probably present in the anchor itself. Another proof of the same is the lightning strike right behind her. However, how she got there is beyond anyone's guess. We probably need to contact Neil to find that out. By the way, she appears in a few other images as well, and they are more exciting than this one here, so hold tight. Now that we are done with the major locations and our primary antagonists, let us look into the major character reveals. Number 9. Planning. This one here is titled Planning and shows an older Ripley and Hicks making a plan about something. The interesting feature about this image is that the two of them are looking at a holographic model of the building from earlier entries. Furthermore, this image establishes the fact that Neil's film retcons the stories of Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection because in Alien 3, Hicks died early in the beginning. In fact, Neil mentioned in several interviews that he was not trying to undo what was shown in the 3rd and 4th films of the franchise, but only wanted to connect himself with Scott's Alien and Cameron's Aliens. Now, that might have been his way of not disrespecting the works of David Fincher and Jean-Pierre Jeunet. It's also wonderful to see that Ripley's life comes into a full circle. Number 10. Hicks. This image gives a close-up of Hicks and we can clearly see that the left side of his face has burned away. This is the result of Cameron's Aliens, where he shoots a xenomorph in an elevator, and the xenomorph's acidic blood spills all over him, burning his face. Also, there's a USCM tattoo on his left arm. 11. Jax. Alien films are incomplete without a few synthetics, right? So here we have a synthetic named Jax. This one's clearly an upgrade model of the synthetics that we have seen so far. He's wearing more of a uniform and is bald, unlike most other synthetics that we've seen so far. It could be possible that Weyland has started to give their organic robots a more uniform, yet deadlier outlook. I mean, he definitely reminds me of Hitman from the games. As is evident, Jax is connected to wires by something in the background, and he's possibly waiting to get activated while Ripley examines him. Number 12. Killson. This one here is another synthetic named Killson, while he's killing a mercenary or a colonial marine. Did you ever notice that all synthetics in subsequent Alien films have been named alphabetically? Scott's synthetic was called Ash, while Cameron's was called Bishop. Then we had Call and David. Neil seems to follow this trend, and his synthetics are called Jax and Killson. But what's more exciting is that Killson looks very much like Hugh Jackman in appearance. Now, we know that Neil was working with the Australian in the 2015 film Chappie when Alien 5 was initially confirmed. Moreover, Sigourney Weaver worked in Chappie, so it wouldn't have been a surprise if Wolverine had joined the Alien universe. Number 13. Jax Arming Comanche. Another image featuring Jax shows that he's using a power loader to plant missiles on something called Comanche. It could be a small assault aircraft or just another high-end weapon system. Number 14. Johnson Knocks Jax. The next one shows that someone called Johnson has knocked the synthetic Jax. However, Jax looks different from what he did in the previous image, and this one not only are his clothes different, but he's got hair as well. The setting here matches his appearance from the previous image, and it is possible that Johnson attacked him to stop the arming up of Comanche. Number 15. Gland Removal. Here, Hicks is performing surgery on an injured synthetic, and from the hair and clothes one can assume that it's probably Jax from the earlier entry. The image is titled Gland Removal. Now, the purpose of such a surgery could be to alter the internal engineering of a synthetic to make him go rogue towards his evil parent organization and side with Ripley and Hicks, who are trying to save the facility and probably Earth from a Xenomorph infestation, courtesy of Weyland's experiments. Number 16. Ripley arms up in Dropship. This one looks cool. An older Ripley arming herself up to face some big bad Xenomorphs, or maybe some other bad guys. Nevertheless, she looks badass, and the image title reads Ripley arms up in Dropship. Naturally, we now have the assurance that Ripley probably came to Earth on a dropship from outer space, but these guys travel for like several years to their destination, so if she's traveling in a dropship to reach another destination, she's definitely not in any kind of hypersleep. This signals that Neil wanted to keep some element of time travel or wormhole, etc. However, this is mere speculation. Number 17. Melting. In this image, Ripley takes a walk down memory lane to see a human melted by Xenomorphs, so that he could later serve as a host. The location of this event is unknown, but it may be set inside the Juggernaut. Number 18. Mercenaries. Two images show Ripley and Hicks with several mercenaries. One of them clearly has the South Korean flag printed on his left arm, while another man has a black, yellow, and orange flag, which could possibly be the flag of Belgium. So it is probable that Weyland-Yutani hired mercenaries to serve the corporation on Earth, much like colonial marines take care of interstellar operations. Number 19. Ripley vs. Xenomorph Queen. The image titled Weyland had the smaller replica of the building from the image titled City. If we look closely, we can see that there are two smaller columns on either side of that replica. Now, in three images titled Elevator, Hunting, and Fire Area, we can see a Xenomorph Queen coming out of the elevator to attack Ripley, who is now wearing an exoskeleton that's engineered based on a Xenomorph Queen herself. This would have been the coolest upgrade that any person in the Alien universe could possibly get. I mean, it would practically be a battle between two queens. What more could one ask for? This was clearly a big reveal back then, and Neil would have done a great job at executing his vision. From films like Elysium and District 9, we know how seriously the South African director takes his exoskeletons. If we consider Chappie, the film didn't perform as his other two films, but the effects he employed in Chappie were brilliant, and Alien has to be Neil's dream project. He has stated in many interviews that he grew up watching the film and was his first movie memory. Number 20. Trematode. But a few images released in 2015 show something more exciting and thrilling than Ripley's Xenomorph Queen exosuit. Well, Neil was to introduce what is known as Trematodes. Just like the Hammerpeed from Scott's prequel film, Neil was to introduce a new organism that led to the birthing of a facehugger. The general lore is that a queen lays ovomorphs, from which facehuggers hatch. These facehuggers then orally impregnate a host to implant a chest burster embryo, which then bursts out of the chest of the host to develop into an adult xenomorph. However, Neil's film was going to alter this reproductive cycle. According to the images, an extraterrestrial organism called Trematode would make its way inside a host from one of their body parts. It could practically be any body part, ranging from neck to stomach. After entering, the Trematode would then lay eggs or embryos into the host, which would develop into small facehuggers. In the image titled Facehugger Birthing, we can see the small facehuggers were coming out of a man named Miller, who was previously impregnated by the Trematode. This was a welcome move from Neil Blomkamp, and some would say it was bold and radical. I mean, just like Ridley Scott transformed the method of impregnation in his film Covenant, in which he used spore-like formations, Neil Blomkamp would have brought something new and fresh to the table. Now, as far as the birthing of Trematodes is concerned, one of the images titled Trematode shows a man being attacked by it, and right beside the man is a hatched ovomorph. So it is possible that Weyland Yutani had managed to engineer the ovomorphs so that they resulted in Trematodes instead of facehuggers. It is also possible that the corporation had managed to make these reptilian beasts follow commands, because yet another image shows a Trematode attacking Hicks in an enclosed compartment. But I suppose we will never know for sure what the truth was. Having said that, fans are still hopeful that Alien 5 might just happen someday, and Blomkamp would helm the project. But that seems rather unlikely. Now that Disney owns the franchise, it is unsure if they'd want to go ahead with making a justified Alien film with all the violence, gore, and H.R. Giger's sexual overtone. Fox and Ridley Scott decided to take a step back on Alien 5, probably because of the poor critical response that Blomkamp's Chappie received. Apart from this, and the rumors that Blomkamp's vision of Alien 5 was way too radical and novel, we cannot really see another reason why Alien 5 never came to life.
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.